All right, and three, a two, a three, two, three, two. Here we are, dreamers.
All right, everybody. Welcome back. So last week, we had this group of four Trinity diplomats coming to this system in order to negotiate a transition to the Trinity for this system. From a family of very odd Nusquai. They met with four of them, the eldest two, alone in the night. They've made an alliance, or the eldest of them, alone in the night, they've made an alliance with already. Um, they also met with the second eldest, Force of Might and Will, and the next pair in the order of precedence, Haruko Garagarako and Seeker. Uh, they have talked, determined that some of these people they will acquiesce to, some of them they won't, some of them are question marks. And now we go on to the less respected side of the family. Or, well, at least less respected socially speaking.
Hmm.
I assume you are still going in order of precedence,
Absolutely, we maintain that order of precedence to show we know what's up.
which brings you to the next, which means next you go to beginnings through understanding. This shit, when you enter beginning through understanding, it is filled with water. You have to swim through the chaotic and kind of cramped, honestly, halls. As you enter, a small creature that you vaguely recognize, but it looks different than anything you've ever seen, really. And it's very, very small. Uh, Starts guiding you through some corridors, swimming ahead slightly. Can you guys see that? Did that pop out in you, or do I need to move it onto the map?
Um,
Do you
I
guys see the image, or
I don't see it thrown up in front of me. Did you shift Z it?
I shift Z'd it, but it's on a different map. Let
Oh
me,
no, it'll have to be on the same
yeah,
map as us.
sorry.
Ooh, no worries.
It's very, very small, this thing. Very small. About maybe the size of a large cat is leading you through the watery tunnels. You can give me a medicine to try to figure out where you recognize that thing from. You can give me scrutiny to try to, because there are like open doors everywhere. This place seems alive, like none of the other hallways have been alive, and it also seems unattended to, like none of the other hallways have been. All right,
Hmm.
so yeah, so Velp, yes, this hallway is alive. That coral that is the for most ships, the coral is grown and then the shell is used. There seems to be living coral in this ship's uh core, at least in these corridors that you're being led through. Also, the doors are open, but you can't quite see inside them. It is dark. You're in a ship that is filled with water with no light, or with very few lights, like small red lights that sort of guide you.
Oh, guys, follow me. I can at least keep pace with this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also going to be looking back to make sure they know they're fine swimming because, yeah.
Are there lights on our helmets?
I assume so. Yeah, you can turn them on if you want.
Blue?
Yeah.
I'm looking
If you
around,
want to look into
fascinated.
the other rooms with the light on, I will let you do that with a scrutiny +3.
I definitely
Ooh.
will because I think Sancta is like, oh my, coral, it's alive.
Mhm.
When that is explained to me, and I'm like, how fascinating to see it in I suppose natural isn't quite the right word, but as it evolves, proceeds through its life cycle. And
Alrighty. So first off, Vash, or first off, Vash, you swear you see large shapes moving in these rooms, but you can't quite spot them. They're just shifting around. They seem to be flowing organically, a lot like the creature that's leading you. Urgats, how and you almost think you spotted one, and then Urgats jumps and shrieks a little bit. You're gonna get +1 edge from this. And Urgats, you are also gonna get +1 edge because you did spot one of the creatures. In one of the rooms, there is a vivisected Nusquai Hydra.
oh shit, and I'm getting the edge, right?
Yeah, you both get 1 edge.
I'm
You
like,
get 1 edge from seeing this, and Vosh, you get 1 edge because, ooh, there's things moving in the shadows, and then suddenly your compatriot yelps.
yeah, and then I'm on comms. I'm like, maybe we should not tarry on the way. Come to think of it, I suspect there are things here we don't need to see,
I believe that is wise.
although they are all fascinating.
All right.
Okay, so you
See,
still follow the thing?
yeah, you follow the strange creature that none of you rolled a check to know about, but maybe you guys know anyway without the check, and arrive in this flooded hall, or this flooded throne room. You note that much like Haruko, the face of Sin itself is not at their command console area when you walk in. They appear to be doing something. You can't quite exactly see what right now. And she said she rears up her head that faces towards you and says, you've come. Welcome. I was curious whether or not this was. No, never mind. That's unimportant. It matters little. I have an important question. As far as these interactions or this interaction is going, it's the same question as before. Are you going to be keeping your head on a swivel? Are you going to be trying to be very polite, or are you going to be watching him watching Shim with intent?
Keep my head on a swivel.
Yes, more
Okay.
concerned about our security than.
I'm keeping.
Well, I mean,
I'm keeping it polite.
yeah, somewhere halfway between polite and swivel.
Those of you keep who are keeping their head on the swivel can roll a scrutiny check to see if anything's going amiss while this is happening. All right. Couple things. Number one. So, Vosh, you swear you saw that another shadow moving, like, through this door down here. And that sort of creeps you out, considering the last time you saw shadows moving, one of your friends screamed. Velp, you notice that there is a stillness to this water. Like maybe in this room, things don't come and go very often. Because you did so well, you also can tell that currently, You can't tell exactly what, but there is something on the table behind the face of sin itself. And the face of sin itself is actively doing something to it. Anyway, she looks at you and looks at the suspicious looking one. It's like, all right. Because I wish to get to business and cannot stand the mistranslations, please, for the duration of this conversation, would you call me Ki?
Of course, Ki.
Understood. Shit. Okay.
Thank you. In any case, I apologize for the lack of formality, but I am busy and I am busy. So, and I have no time for the games that my family plays. You want this you want this system, no?
Indeed, we are here to negotiate on behalf of the Trinity, and yes, the Trinity would like to acquire this system. That is the point of the negotiations.
That seems reasonable enough, and I'm happy to let you have it. I will say I have a few small requests. In lieu of standard payment, or well, as payment rather than standard currency, it would be appreciated if you constructed a research center orbiting or in this system orbiting the sun. It would of course follow Trinity laws because this is Trinity territory. And I would work with the Trinity to ensure peace, it going to the future.
Of course. This research platform would be designed to study the particular phenomenon of this star, or?
No, I just like looking at the stars when I think.
Of course. Well, there are many opportunities for us to collaborate with various scientific organizations. I'm sure that a research station could be arranged.
And then, of course, as is standard for such negotiations, I would like to retain at least a portion of my current salvage rights.
Indeed. And which aspect of the salvage rights would you be most interested in?
The ones that are mine.
Ah, it seems you have me at a disadvantage. Just so that I can put it all down, what explicitly should we be sure to make clear is your salvage right in the system?
I believe that ultimately this war comes out of a lack of understanding.
Indeed.
I seek peace. And to do so, I need to understand everything about everyone.
I nod sagely. Does the customary salvage rights ring a bell for me?
So you know that salvage rights can mean a lot of things. I will actually allow you to roll systems.
Would sociology help me here?
Or insight to determine. You guys can roll systems or insight to determine more about the salvage rights.
Okay. And would by degree sociology help me here, or red tape?
Red tape would help you.
All right.
Okay. So Ergats, you know that salvage rights can be a numerous number of things. It basically means whenever something isn't, isn't being used or isn't actively there, it can be taken.
Mm-hmm.
Vosh, you get the distinct sense that Jiki is hesitant about revealing more about the salvage rights. Velp, you saw something on this dude's table. With Shear's hesitance to talk about it, you suspect that perhaps the salvage rights are less, metals and destroyed starships and such, and more perhaps dead things.
Interesting. I'll
Dang, the corpse harvester. Welcome to the necropolis, gang.
yes. I will let Ergats know as if she, if this one is interested, perhaps we could also offer a sort of exchanging of like Trinity information, perhaps like a library, because if they emphasize knowledge this much, this might be something that can sway them.
So, and like you're communicating this to me via like helmet cam or whatever, or helmet com.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to say I truly agree that lack of understanding is the cause of all conflict among the stars, and we can establish this research station with you with no issue.
Okay.
Obviously, the Trinity, when this becomes Trinity territory, will have rules and regulations and many arbiters of the law that travel hither in tow. And for the ease of everyone involved, if we put in a clear line about your, shall we say, liberties about the system, that will help bring about a clear understanding of what you are free to do, so that no one will disturb you in your work. Because, indeed, as you like to look and ponder the stars, I'm sure distractions like bureaucracy are a hindrance to your understanding of higher things.
I suppose makes sense. Youth such as you do not understand things. I currently, in all of our systems, as well as any system that we have exchanged with other entities, have right of first salvage on people who have or things that have a deceased in the region. If I am nearby or reasonable distance away, I get informed of what the deceased is, and how the deceased became deceased within a reasonable amount of time, and can then claim it, or claim the corpse for aid in furthering peaceful and prosperous relations.
Yeah, actually, that's a good question. Which of these on the document are we talking to?
Oh, right. Sorry.
Are they main brood?
Nope.
Elder?
This is Shuki. Their name on the document is the face of sin itself.
Okay,
I have
top
shared
one.
their image or their brief description.
He's a scientist of some sort. In adolescence, he visits several places in the frontier as well as some home ships. His adulthood stayed in newswise space. Alright, so, yeah, I'm gonna say, I see. Now, assuming the deceased were non-sapient, that would be easy to arrange. Assuming they were sapient, however, the body may be earmarked for any of a number of fates. However, the normal morgue process would involve alerts about the goings on and access to the bodies. It could be possible that you would be allowed to inspect them, but being able to take the bodies could possibly be a hard sell. You see, many of the Trinity species are very attached to the bodies of their relatives even after they have become deceased. So if it were a person who were to die, it would be difficult for us to remand that corpse into your custody.
I see. So the Trinity does not care about the future of its people. Interesting.
Could I do either a knowledge check to be like, you know how universities you can actually donate your body to science? What if we do a sort of compromise and have that be part of the research station?
Yeah. Yeah. Are you gonna pitch that one?
I would like send that to you and let you know is like this could be a compromise and something that would be good, and both sides would be happy.
Certainly, an advancement of knowledge is a worthy thing. So to consent. Now, what if we were to there will already be a research station, and we have an option under Trinity law to donate one's body to further scientific advancement. Under this model, we could allow the furthering of scientific advancement to fall under being sent to you. In addition, you wouldn't have to be nearby when the organism was deceased. It would merely need to be marked for scientific advancement. It would be collected and brought to the research facility where you would be able to examine it at your leisure, using the full faculties and assistance of Trinity scientists.
That seems amenable.
Wonderful.
So long as the Trinity scientists understand that the research facility will also have my assistants wandering it at times. One addition, though, I would request that when things transpire such that the system's true purpose comes to light, the facility should remain the foremost site for investigating things.
So, can I insight? Like, are they talking about like the fate of the stars exploding, or like in the event of a war?
Yeah, you can roll that insight there.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Wow.
he is definitely talking about both, but definitely hinting more at, yo, when you guys start invading your neighbor through this place, because I think that's what you're doing this for. Dibs is on the corpses, so I can study the weapons and whatnot. Like for the the normal thing where rather than just send them straight home, you oftentimes send them and like do autopsies and make sure. And if it's an abnormal weapon, you learn more about it. He's like, yeah, that goes through my special facility. She's like, that goes through my facility.
I would inform Z that indeed, I believe we can make the strongest possible routing. Of course, some of it will be earmarked for return to the Trinity proper, but I don't see any reason that it shouldn't pass through here first.
Excellent. I look forward to the signing in that case.
Indeed, myself as well. It has been a pleasure to be aboard your vessel and communicate with you. I understand you're very busy, so I don't want to take any more of your time than necessary. But we appreciate the hospitality.
Of course, Pup will lead you out. And she sort of waves her, Shear's arm, and the thing just swims around you and starts going back through the very creepy halls.
Yes, and we're going to keep close to it and not dawdle or check anything that catches our eyes, because yes, this seems to be a death trap.
It's not a death trap. It's straight out of a gothic horror movie.
Yeah, you know.
I mean,
it's just terrifying. I mean, it's not a trap. It's just death.
Real talk. She doesn't have the Necronomicon, right?
And I'm going to say, I believe that's an old human reference. And, you know, I've been surprised by Newswire collections before.
There is a realm of possibility then, Ergats.
I will note as the description says, she has not, or has only really been to the frontier and home ships and New Squire space. So deep human lore maybe not have, unless it's from the front, unless someone moved the Necronomicon to the frontier.
I could see, the cultists trying to get away from the Empire. But yeah,
actually, I could also see the Rast buying it, so maybe.
The Rast acquired it for a steal. Like, we'll give you a laser gun, kid. You ain't never seen nothing like that before, have you?
Yeah, and then I pronounce it, and it puns ensues when they do a complete sentence.
If we are speaking freely, I would say the organisms killed by Z or by Zer's comrades should be excluded from the deal. That way they are not
incentivized, indeed.
Incentivized to create their own corpses.
Yes.
But I will say is I think we can put this down under the agreement of the pile of people of Newswire that agreed to this term. So I think if I recall correctly, 3 out of 7. The possible 4th and 5th, depending on how we review it.
Mm-hmm. So, are you going to talk to the drone about this, or are you just going to head on to the next peak? Both are valid options.
I think that we're gonna let the drone buddy know, or that's what I would suggest. I would suggest that to my compatriots.
We ran every other one by them. I don't see why
it would
we
not
would stop
hurt
now.
Yeah, if anything, it might look suspicious if we were just like said nothing about only one of them.
Excellent point.
Once again, Alone in the Night pops up. Yes. So, did you find Zhiki amenable?
Yes, largely. Although there was some matters of salvage rights that were complicated against our own laws.
She always insists.
We I've also arranged for a research station that is of great interest to them. Do you think that there might be anything additional that they're trying to do here? Or just examine the bodies?
What do you mean by anything additional?
Well, from what I can tell, she's primary interest is in collecting dead organisms, studying dead organisms, and potentially studying captured technology from the war. A war. That might theoretically happen, but will almost certainly not, we hope.
She cares little about technology. And I will say not all of Shear's interests are dead, but she is ultimately a scientist. Little else matters to Shim.
And do you think that right now we're granting a limited set of allowances? Do you think that there is a strong chance that if we give them a bit, they might try to overstep? Or are they likely to abide by the terms?
It depends on the allowances. It also depends on who else is supporting you.
So, if brood members that they respect back the agreement, they're more likely to honor all the terms?
That depends on what you mean by respect, but yes.
Who should we
Shiki respects very little.
who should we look towards to be sure they agree to keep our friend the face of sin itself in line?
That's the I would be hesitant about using that name with Shim. That is a mistranslation.
Oh, my apologies.
I would say myself and the good seeker are both good, or both solid choices. As well, she fears Haruko and respects force of might and will. Whether those will change her or Shear's opinion, I know not. Or sheer opinion, I know not.
I see. Well, thank you for the insights.
And it disappears. Bloop.
Well, I wanted to ask a question.
Oh, you did? Sorry.
Yeah. What would a proper translation to our language be of Zer's name?
It is hard. The reason why that is how Sheer name is translated is that it is the closest, but your language describes many implications to the word sin. And you also have your species' face is different in meaning. So the face of sin itself removes the implications of sin and understand that our face is both our weakness and our strength. It is not necessarily what we see, but it is what we respect, fear, or when we face someone, we show fear, we show lack of fear. It is also it's where we are most vulnerable, and it is where we are strongest.
Interesting. Thank you.
Unless there are any more questions, I will return to my work.
Not this time, thank you.
And the hologram bleeps off.
All right. I think it's time for us to peace out.
Yes. I will have to say, Ergats, you better have taken that whole explanation about sin of Newsglide to ensure that gets back to the university, because I'm sure there's going to be lots of papers on that.
We will keep this in mind. And I'm like, going over my notes like, all right, who's the next one?
The next one would be heading out to Dreamscape and meeting with a pale nightmare.
Time to have a pale
The least
nightmare.
suspiciousest person. Alrighty. So y'all head on over. You guys enter Dreamscape, and like beginning through understanding before, it is filled with water. The hallway is not fancy, but it is straight, a straight line, and it's fairly large. You suspect this gets a lot of traffic. Or you suspect that this doesn't get necessarily a lot of traffic, but it does seem to be used. There's also no real... there's only one side with doors, and the other side is a solid wall. If you think you understand about like ships and ship layouts and such, you can roll me mechanics or systems or something to determine more about this, but otherwise it's just a pretty big hallway.
How about operations, since that is...
Yeah, operations would work if
Excellent.
that's ship related. Yeah, you get the feeling that this is sort of a public hallway, that maybe through those doors there are more hallways that go into different ways, but since this is just straight, it's kind of large, it's probably specifically for people who are landing and going to meet with whoever's in charge. You arrive at an airlock, and like in I want to say it was the Force of Might and Will's ship. It seals behind you, drains all the water out, and you enter into a room that has significantly less water. It's about a bit above your knee. And there are some people here. Though, as you enter, Shiki asks, would you prefer... sorry, not Shiki. Sorry, A Pale Nightmare asks, would you prefer I drain the water fully? I can do that, but...
And I would say, we have no preference. We're happy to meet you as you are.
Alrighty. Then pair snaps, and all of the wonderful people start filing out, and says, we can wait for them to leave before we start talking.
All right. What do the people look like? There's a rasp, Descents.
There's a Rast. There's a couple of robots. There's this what looks like a general orderly sim. You can roll me a scrutiny or a any number of things, actually. Anything that you think would be related to figuring out what they are. Scrutiny, mechanics. All right.
Cool.
All right. Perfect. So, y'all all see, Vosh, you see very clearly there was a Rast, kind of suspicious, and then a bunch of robots. Also kind of suspicious, but much less so. Snoodle, the Rast seems like a piloty sort, probably is just sort of an employee. You also recognize that one of the synths is Rast as well. And you could swear you've seen that whatever the robot that was once manning the main station. You swear you've seen it before in like a historical kind of historical records or something. Ergots, you're gonna get an extra edge because you do recognize it. That is definitely a meat unit.
Do I know what series? Is it the murder series? Is it the less murder series?
The series look fairly similar.
Yeah, same body, different. All right, yeah, I'm not a robotologist.
You don't know enough about robotics to really know, but you're sure that's a meat. You saw it in the whole "watch out for meats" section of your human the human empire was bad training.
Yeah.
You skipped out on the elective course, didn't you?
No, I definitely saw that scare holovid. And yeah, I would internally just be like, watch out for that robot. Like visually tag the meat unit as what it is with my little like blinky. But I'm not gonna say anything.
Well, the meat unit left already. Pale Nightmare sort of clapped two of its side arms, so it was sort of like a snap. And then all of the other people in the room left.
Mm-hmm.
Come, sit, enjoy some sushi. One of my employees makes a fantastic bunch.
All right. I mean, I will come and sit and make a show of inspecting it and being like, oh, my, how impressive, but I'm definitely checking that shit because I'm, trust but verify.
Roll a medicine if you want to see if it's poisoned.
No.
It's not.
All right. I also check my suit HUD. Do I see anything off about like the oxygen mix or anything?
No. It seems like it's kind of more humid than you'd like, but that's to be expected.
I'm not gonna breathe in the fun gas if I mask off. Fuck it, mask off.
I will note you did see that the Rast was not wearing a mask this entire time.
For all I know, I knew the Rast was tripping. My Rast pilot could have been tripping balls.
Yeah,
or steadily grown immunity to the poison.
Yeah.
But
that is also
the Rast may have done that on their own volition and not due to the environment.
True. I'm gonna pop out my helmet. I'll be polite. And I'm like, lovely. And I'm just gonna go in on that sushi.
It's real delicious sushi.
You're asking a space otter about having fish? Of course.
Yeah. Velp isn't like this isn't the best sushi you've had, but it's definitely like top 25. You're like, wow, I want to check this place out again. If this person opens up a restaurant, tell me about it.
Well, maybe we can make that one of the demands.
Your personal chef stays in system and prepares.
Yeah, we've been giving too much. We need to take some ground.
There we go.
This recipe, starting with the sushi recipe. We were playing hardball now.
So, by the way, so Pale Nightmare goes and joins you eating at the table.
Mm-hmm.
Pear is eating something slightly different than you guys, though you suspect that's less to do with not wanting to eat the sushi and more to do with y'all are eating these little teeny tiny plates and Pear is eating significantly more.
Good.
So, do y'all want to talk some, or y'all want to get right to business? I'm good with either. Pear says as they they're shoveling their food. I think I got some old human whiskey over in the corner.
Oh well, I'm quite frankly fascinated with your operations, and I'd love to chat. And perhaps even sample some whiskey. Yes, but we are here to represent the Trinity's interests, so we're happy to get to business as according. And I kind of look at everyone else. Does anybody give me a hurry the fuck up?
Oh no,
Nope.
I'm enjoying this, especially because in true otter fashion, there's probably going to be a clam, and I'm having it on the belly.
I'm here to keep things secure.
Alrighty.
I don't say that. That's just a look back I give.
I look at you and I know the vibe, and yeah, I mean, I'll partake, and I will I will have a shot of that whiskey. I will consume enough alcohol to reduce my edge by 1, in fact, because I'm having a stressful fucking day, and Sancta
You saw
relishes.
the island of Dr. Moreau earlier. Yes, you're having a stressful day.
I'll check whether or not that instantly or only on my second go starts fucking my stats up. But look, Sancta relishes a chance to drink on the job. As an academic, he's fond of hitting the pub after office hours, but he relishes the chance to be able to do it at the table. It's like, my fiery stuff with very earthy notes. Now,
sorry, y'all had to go through precedence order and had to deal with all my family first. I understand they can be a bit much.
Oh, certainly. Well, it has been an eye-opening experience to meet with all of them and learn their desires about the system. Now, I'm given to understand you do some work in the system and sometimes move goods through here.
Of course, shipping. Ship ore, goods, lots of stuff.
Wonderful.
I'm sure y'all can tell I have my cruiser's personally designed so that it can fit containers in it.
Indeed.
Massive containers, like bigger than your ship, because your ship is tiny.
Indeed. Well, our ship only needs to move some diplomats, whereas yours is moving great amounts of freight, which is wonderful.
I'm gonna be honest with you, New Squad ships that move diplomats, much bigger. Y'all should tell the Trinity you need bigger ships.
I will forward it after seeing the magnificent vessel you and your family has, your brood has. I bet
y'all even don't have a spare throne room for when you're bored with your main throne room and don't want to have to deal with all the consoles.
I confess we do not have a spare throne. I don't confess the fact that we don't have any throne rooms, though. I don't wanna like give up the ghost that easy. And I would say yes. So, how is business? I'm given to understand that you are quite the merchant about space.
I mean, business is fine. Business works.
Wonderful.
People always need things moved.
They always do, and all across the Trinity as well, there's a great need for shipping.
You offering to hire us?
Oh, I feel more so that there will be a business-rich environment here. A lot of things are going to be moved here.
So we are going straight to business. Got it. Well, in that case...
Well, these things come up.
Clever. You're almost acting like a new squire there, getting me drunk before you try to get me to talk. Anyway, should know I'm much more tolerant than you little children.
Of course. I would not imagine that I could outdrink you.
Far as business is concerned, I'm good with selling it to you. Y'all good with buying it? It's great. I will say I want exclusive shipping rights into the system from outside the system, or from outside the Trinity. That's it. I'm assuming y'all ain't gonna have me shipping too much stuff because Trinity is weird about money. But in terms of shipping it into the Trinity, I get exclusive rights into this system. Good with that?
Well, that certainly is a proposal, but let me ask you this. Let's imagine a ship jumps into Trinity space and then jumps here. Would you consider that from Trinity space, or would they need to have docked at some port of call within Trinity space and then made a transfer here to be considered an internal transfer by the standards of our agreement? I just want to be sure I know what I'm presenting my colleagues with.
What would the Trinity consider that? I don't know Trinity law that great. I'm only import export. I don't really deal with inter-system shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned having problems with our currency. All of this being able to have that streamlined for your business be something amenable?
Oh no, I don't have no problems with the Trinity's weird currency shenanigans. I just understand that the Trinity tends to not hire so much as hire. If that like don't you don't got contract work isn't nearly as common. Yeah, a lot of your shipping is internal. If I recall correctly.
Indeed. I think that that's a fair assessment. And so I think about it, and I mean, so I guess we were expecting lots of time to get. I mean, I don't think that the Trinity is probably going to try and source anything from Newsguy space. So I don't know that it's that big of a deal. Unless, wait, so shipping rights. Wait a minute. Sorry, you guys talk.
I was going to suggest, Ergats, would there be something within the red tape for this? Because for shipping rights, that means is that this person will be the only one to bringing, supplies and everything into this sector, wouldn't that?
I think I would say, now to clarify, when we speak of shipping rights, are we referring to commercial contracts? For example, somebody wants a crate of 20,000 slates, and only you can import that from outside the Trinity, or are we talking about any significant shipping? Say, because the Trinity may need to bring in, say, a wrecked vessel from outside the system to here from outside the Trinity. That wouldn't fall under your monopoly because it would not be a commercial contract to ship goods. It would be a retrieval mission, would you say?
You think the Dreamscape can't carry a wrecked vessel?
I'm sure
Dreamscape's more than capable.
I'm sure the Dreamscape is more than capable.
I'm sure it could tow in many vessels.
So you'd consider that inclusive? That would be included in this requirement.
If it's coming from outside the Trinity and entering the Trinity in this system, I get the rights.
Now, I note that you emphasize not that you must do it yourself, but rather that you would have the rights. Would you intend to sublease those rights?
Why would I do that unless it was absolutely necessary?
Well,
if you have me shipping two things at once, I might need to, but otherwise, Dreamscape ain't slow.
I guess a concern would be the shipping rates. If it becomes absorbently expensive to import from outside of Trinity to the system, it will impact the value of the system potentially.
What if... So you do business all over the Trinity, yes?
I do business places, yeah. Ship a lot of places.
So what we're talking about here would be an advantage to you in business in this system. However, what if we could arrange for the Dreamscape to enjoy less need to engage in paying of tariffs and delays for refueling and the like all across the frontier? I mean, this is a fine system for shipping, but the business may be more profitable elsewhere, and the Trinity has many levers we can pull to ensure that your journey is more fluid.
I ain't a smuggler, if that's what you're implying, but I think having more free time would make it more efficient. You know what? I would say as long as we have the right of first claim on any commercial contracts into this system, and you eliminate, pesky slowdowns elsewhere, I think that is amenable to our situation?
I nod and I look to my companions and I'm like, sound good?
Let me do a system check to see.
You guys can also roll insight there.
Yeah, because like, is he for real? Like, is there some like something behind this?
This boy lying.
Oh.
In terms of not being a smuggler type.
Oh, okay. So he's definitely a smuggler.
The idea is like, what if we offer this person something where it's a lot more profitable to be legit than smuggle because all that red tape is now gone.
Yeah. So, but they are amenable to this deal, but they are also definitely a smuggler.
Yeah, you get the distinct feeling that they're amenable to this deal. Yeah, Urgots, you got 2 successes. You get the distinct feeling that they're amenable to this deal. They're definitely a smuggler, and they definitely meant it when they said it's not like it's a hassle, it just takes up time. You get the feeling they're a pretty good smuggler, considering it's a New Squire ship, and Trinity not super used to weird shaped New Squire ships and where they might hold things and stuff.
Yeah. I think that I mean, we don't have to commit here, but like I think this is fine. I can't think of anything else to ask him, but I won't rush off or wait.
Oh yeah, and of course there's the payment issue because we want to be proper about this transaction. Make this a transaction.
Of course, we have Threatened Federation credits and Raidu's available if those are your preferred method.
5 billion Raidu seems reasonable enough to me.
And
just a simple small fee.
How much have we been giving? We've been giving everyone's 10 million, right? And he wants 5 billion.
So the Seeker requested 10 million and passage. Force requested 10 million and an uninhabited system. Haruko requested 562 million. And then the party, $1,000 party every time every time Z shows up in the system. Alone in the Night requested a single luxury credit because it wants to be as suspicious as possible. Or a single luxury coupon. And then Shiki requested his payment be done in the form of a research facility, which generally costs around the billions or billions probably, but it is also going to be in the Trinity and owned or co-worked with, or the Trinity can use it too, so it maybe is cost effective.
The idea behind the research facility is that it's going to be a big initial investment, but it is going to pay for itself mainly because of the nature of its research and all that. So
yeah,
short term it's going to hurt. Long term it'll pay. It'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, now we've discussed with some of your broodmates, and of course, it is only just that you all be compensated, financially. I will say. We were a little more in the million than the billion range at the moment. I understand this is a big sale, however. Perhaps there are goods or sundries we could acquire that would be of great value and otherwise difficult to obtain that could help bridge that financial gap.
Don't need that. I suppose I could go down to $1 billion, but I ain't going lower than that. This is a business I'm running, and right now this is a very useful system for just chilling. Like you saw me earlier. I can see near enough to plenty of borders that I can go to plenty of places from here. Pirates avoid it because it's our land at the moment, and my brothers are scary, or my broodmates be scary. It's very safe. I'm giving that up, so I need to get at least something in return.
I believe the business that will be generated with importing will compensate a fair amount as well.
Of course. That's why I'm willing to go down to $1 billion. But I ain't going lower than that.
All right. I can't think of anything this guy in particular really wants from us other than money and business. So while $1 billion is a large amount, the Trinity is the Trinity. It's not like they don't have $1 billion to throw at this motherfucker.
I will just send a message to Urgats as all of us will be like, you know, this news guy wants to haggle.
Yeah,
Do you feel comfortable doing
That's
this?
true. You can roll. I will allow you to roll a contested convince check with Pale Nightmare to determine if you're how well you haggle him down. I will say that has a risk. If Pear succeeds more than you, that number might go up instead of down.
Yeah, I'm going to send back to Velp I am more of a scholar and statistician than haggler, but if you feel confident, I'll back you up.
What was the roll?
It will be a contested convince check.
The communicate skill.
Or communicate.
Okay.
Sorry, I got pulled the wrong call.
I can aid with 2.
Okay. That means I get 6 dice.
Oh, I should show you guys a Pale Nightmare. I forgot to.
But I also get an assistance from Urgat's talent of red tape.
Yes, I will allow you to use Urgatz's red tape, assuming Urgatz is advising you.
Yes. All right. Well then. The War Eagles dare.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also, if I assist, I give 1 dice.
All right, so you definitely, Snoodlevelp, you succeeded.
Yes, I'm just feeling like, oh, come on. Imagine, think of this. Some now, or what if, we, part of the big thing is, decreased tariffs, all of this. It's basically going to be along the lines of you just paying for your own fuel, but you'll get at a discount at Trinity with favorite status.
A discount in the Trinity for fuel. That sounds mighty reasonable. I think we can go lower. I think maybe 700, 750. That sound reasonable to you? 750 million, that is, of course.
Let me just see if I can edge that. So that's going to be, I remove the successes too when I edge, right?
Correct.
All right, let's see.
And now a Pale Nightmare will also be edging because...
Yeah, 1 second. I need to make sure, because this was +4.
Yeah,
3, 1, 2. Okay.
Don't forget, I gave you a modifier of 1, so you get the extra dice. But very good, very good.
No. Okay.
Ooh,
Yeah, 750. I think 750 a reasonable amount. 750 million.
Yeah, we'll take it under advisement.
I nod, and I'm like, yes, well, you'll be hearing from him shortly. Indeed.
Alrighty. Enjoy your time.
I will, and thank you for the fine food and drink.
Yes, thank you.
Excellent hospitality.
I'm afraid my selection ain't quite as good as my broodmate, Haruko, but we each got our own things.
An excellent view to have.
Alrighty.
Will you? Oh, thank you for the hospitality. We shall dismiss ourselves now.
Unlike some of the more mazy ones, this is fairly simple. It's a straight hallway back to your ship, and you return.
Yeah, this is a place of business, not a death maze.
I wake up the drone.
Yes, I do take a drop. So I get myself calmed down because I really did not want to be doing these sorts of negotiations again. But yeah.
Yes. So, what seems to be the issue with a pale nightmare?
What does Pale Nightmare smuggle?
A variety of things. They are, Pear isn't so much a thinker or a planner or a in charge of anything. Pear gets work, Pear does work.
Do they smuggle slave? Are they known to have smuggled slaves or nuclear weapons?
Slaves, no. Pear isn't their brood mate. I don't know about nuclear weapons.
The emphasis on nuclear there.
I am right.
It depends on how you defined nuclear weapons, I suppose.
Those are specifically listed in the Trinity laws, right? That's why I brought them up.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, like speeding Pear through customs and like expediting their refueling means they'll travel faster. On the other hand, it'll also bring even more attention to their travel because they get special treatment. So, I think that we've given the Trinity Marshals a mixed bag here in the event they finally catch Pear in the act. But, they seem pretty good at their job, so. I mean, I'm not really tripping. Smuggling happens.
I think smuggling happens, and they'll somewhat corner the market on smuggling, so at least we'll know it's all contained to one. Largely contained to one.
Well,
enterprise.
we talked them down to right of first refusal.
True.
So, it's not like they'll be the only game in the import gang, but yeah. Ultimately, I think that we're fine. I think we let this happen. At the very least, my only concern is people will see that we're giving $750 million to their broodmate and want more money.
You can roll a insight or a systems. The systems will include both of your checks. Insight will be at a +2 because you've interacted with everyone and studied them. So and you also incited everyone and succeeded before.
All right, so that's a modifier of 4 then for my systems. All
right, that is so. What are you going to be spending that super twist on? Because you don't need a super twist to figure this out. 3 successes is more than enough.
I guess the super twist would be an automatic success the next time I'm making the systems to do with prices, or if you mean super twisting, I want to super twist towards here. I think I want to think about maybe the broader implications about the financial asks, and if there's
I will
a
allow you to
emerging.
Do either of those with that super twist. Get an automatic success next time you're worried about cost and money and pricing, or get information that you wouldn't have otherwise gotten about the people and why they're asking for money and where the money is.
No, I think I'm thinking deeper about the money. I'm referencing everything I know about how Newsguy handle currency-based economics and the disparity in the asks, and if they're going to pitch a fit, if there's something we're not seeing in the pattern here.
So, first off, as far as money is concerned, the answer to your actual question that you're thinking about, you doubt anyone is going to be demanding more money. You do think that perhaps this agreement will make it harder to talk Haruko down from his current amount of money that he randomly pulled out of his hat, or sorry, that Z randomly pulled out of Zir hat. But you suspect that everyone else has asked, besides Haruko, has asked for an amount of money for a reason, and that's probably not going to change because someone asked for, because they're silly business person friend asked for more money.
Mm.
As far as the larger implications of the money, in the cases of the 10 million, you suspect that is just sort of a standard and give me some money kind of New Squy statement.
Mm.
Because as you learned last time, it's polite for in their dealings in the Frontier and with the Rast to ask for money. Because the Frontier and the Rast, who they primarily deal with, ask for money when they're dealing with outside forces. They do the polite thing of being like, hey, I'm going to have some money, and then probably you're going to get some money if you want, or if I want something from you. As far as the others, you suspect that Ki asked for it not in terms of money, because the amount of money that you're going to be spending on the station is ridiculous. To ask for, I want this much money. You suspect Alone in the Night is sort of doing this money thing like the 10 million, but there is definitely a deeper reason behind why they wanted a luxury coupon. It might just be what they said, that it thinks that you guys are making a frivolous purchase that is completely unnecessary. It might also be that it wants to understand luxury coupons better or something like that, or wants to learn more about your economic system. And Haruko, you already know that he pulled the number, or that that Z pulled the number out of a hat. And as far as the 1,000 Raidu party, you suspect that that's because Z really wants a big party whenever they show up.
Mm.
And 1,000 Raidu is is cheap enough that you wouldn't deny it offhand necessarily, but not so cheap that it would be a bad party.
Mm. Yeah, I think I share all of that information.
Is there equivalent to, say, to the other Trinity species, Urgats, of like Mardi Gras? A specific event? Because I think Haruko would be more amenable to that.
You mean like if there's like a big party that we can be like, yeah, we'll always invite you to our whatever party?
Be like in the old Earth of you be able to be invited down to New Orleans for this Mardi Gras.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think they'd like to do a lot of their partying on their ship and in their space for reasons.
Sexy reasons.
Sexy, violent reasons. Yeah. I mean, I think, for the moment, realistically, we have enough people lined up. We actually don't have to honor all or indeed any of Haruko's requests.
That is true.
Yes, we have 4 out of 7.
But they also don't seem like a great person to snub out of hand. Given what we know about them and their little mask and what it hides. Or rather, what we don't know and haven't seen.
So then we can just talk down along the lines of, like, we could have a party, but there would need to be a refractory period. Secondly, we're not going to be pimps.
Oh, trust me, Haruko is a big fan of refractory periods.
Yeah, that's it. I'm sure Haruko knows all about refractory periods. Yeah, I think we just put a refractory period on it. And, like, you know, we put in some line about, like, whether or not the party is worth 1,000 Raidus is ultimately at the discretion of whatever administrator has to put it on, or some shit like that. That gives us kind of an out. Yeah, I mean, I think for the moment, Haruko is fine.
Yeah, but let's not forget Haruko also wanted the biggest party ever.
Well,
invite those from the other fringes.
Well, Haruko is planning the biggest party ever and wants help getting every sentient species to the party, which probably means bees and Keth. And I mean, I think we'll just promise that we'll help, but like they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna wait until the fuckmates arrive before. You know.
I am just suggesting Ergats, do we really have to put that part of the agreement, and we can just do a much more slimmed down thing with Haruko as a sort of symbolic thing, because we do have the majority, but we do not want to like make him lose face by just not giving him something.
Yeah, we don't want. I don't think it doesn't make sense to hard snub any of these news guai unless they really cause us a problem.
If failing to reach terms would seem to be wiser than snubbing, I agree.
So, yeah, I think that for now we head on to the next ship, and once we have everybody lined up, we can make the final adjustments and have the ceremony.
Yes, the final ship, Olympus. So, you enter the very, very imposing ship. Remember, this ship is shaped in a strange spiraling manner. There is a simple, straight hallway that feels incredibly over-decorated. It's got silks on the walls. It's bejeweled in places. There's like gold and stuff. This feels all too fancy. And you eventually reach a massive set of double doors. There's also, to be clear, nothing else in this hallway. There's no doors to the side doors. There's nothing that you can see other than the silks and the gold and the shiny bits everywhere. You reach a massive set of double doors that open to a room. They open for you, and when you step through, they close behind you, and you see that they opened for you and closed behind you because there were people there who very much do not make eye contact.
Yep. And how old is this news guai?
It looks about the same. This is they look about the same age as the last one. Ah, yes, the Trinity guests are here. Wonderful. I am the glorious death of all who once will be. But because your language lacks proper verbal tenses, you may simply call me Zeus.
Indeed, Zeus.
Please, come, sit, enjoy some food. It's been mildly poisoned.
Aha, wonderful.
Insight check.
Go ahead and roll the insight check.
Because maybe it's been incredibly poisoned. Son of a bitch.
You're kind of freaked out by the fact that this person just openly admitted it was poisoned.
That's fine.
Velp, you can tell they are telling the truth, and B, you vaguely remember at the beginning of this wonderful negotiation way back in the day, your new squad advisor informed you, your new squad expert informed you that openly showing weapons and openly talking about threats is a sign of disrespect.
I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna say, well, then I suppose I will have to mildly consume it, and I want to do the thing where I pretend to eat and drink it.
All right. I think that would be a maneuver check, maybe a convince check if you want to do that instead.
Can I kind of go communicate because I got tool accuracy?
Yeah, I feel like you could probably do a communicate to do so.
All right, I get 2 successes but 1 shock.
All right, you're gonna get some on you, and we'll resolve that later. Are either of the other of you, or after the others, are either of you going to eat it?
I will decline it as per the cultural
All right.
customs.
Roll either a systems check or a communicate check to politely decline.
And Zyra, are you?
All right. Yeah,
are
you successfully politely decline it. You're like, I feel like this won't. You probably say something along the lines of, "I feel like this won't go well with the sushi we just had over at Pale Nightmares." Zyra, are you going to eat it?
I'll just take a look at them and say, well, if it's only mildly poisoned, and then eat a little bit.
Great. So, both of you are going to have to roll endurance because you're going to have a poison check or a poison hazard coming at you.
Do get toxin tolerant, which means I have 1 automatic success.
Okay.
I presume that means I still roll.
You do, because here's the thing.
Full.
Depending on how James is running this poison, that may only be like a notch off. But I think you also get like a modifier of 3 or something, right? Or am I tripping? It might just be the automatic success.
I think it's just I can drink alcohol 3 times without an impact.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm thinking of, the 3 times.
Yeah, I think
Right.
that's
So
what
you took care of one of them,
and
you're gonna get a different thing. So first off, you, Vosh, get a lovely 2/2 poison coming at you, which means you're probably going to
4
get
successes.
no poison damage, but it's gonna hurt your insides a bit. You're gonna have an upset stomach. Where is you? There you are. Yeah, you successfully take care of all that poison, but now you got an upset stomach. You're gonna have an upset stomach. It's not gonna hurt you, but that was not good tasting. You, Lee, get a O2 poison coming at you.
Oh boy. Watch it be double 6s. No.
No, all right. Yeah, it burns your leg slightly, but it doesn't seem to hurt you.
Could I sorry. Having tasted it, could I take a guess? Could I try to sort out what it was poisoned with?
Sure. Roll medicine or yeah, I think medicine is the correct answer.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I agree. Oh.
Yeah. You recognize it. This is a poison that is not uncommon in the frontier. It comes from New Sky space. It's not particularly deadly. It's more of a real bad emetic is the one that makes you vomit, right? It's more of a really bad emetic than it is a poison, like essentially highly concentrated rat poison.
Is there like a name that like I could put to it, just because I want to like look back at him and say, oh, this was blah blah blah.
I mean, I don't know the name off the top of my head, but it's probably some weird New Sky name system.
Oh, gotcha.
This system 3-7 standard fare.
Okay. This is this system 3-7 standard fare. I've only read about its effect. It's interesting to learn more about it.
I am glad you enjoyed the meal. Other than the poison, the meal is actually pretty good.
Other than the poison?
Other than the poison. Other than the upset stomach that you got, the meal's pretty good. All right, so you're here to talk about buying this system or whatever, correct?
Indeed.
Well, buying this system seems perfectly fine to me. I agree with my elders, however, that when one loses a system, one should get a system in return. So, of course, I would have us earn an uninhabitable system elsewhere in the Trinity.
I kind of look
then we would be giving
around.
up 2 systems instead of 1.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
no. It does not need to be an addition. Just one system is fine.
Yeah, so they said habitable system. And I
Oh, I thought
said
they said
it would am I tripping? Did they not say habitable?
They did say habitable.
okay.
Yeah, I'm going to say that is certainly a perspective. However, I think we have already settled the
Oh,
matter of your brood gaining a system with your elders.
oh, is that too much for your youthful minds to
It's
understand? This is
too
an
much based
inhabitable
on the
system.
other
You want
deals
one.
we have on the table.
Perhaps
I
then
don't-
instead of one inhabitable system, I will be happy for our brood to accept 2 uninhabitable systems. That seems like a fair trade. This system can be lived in. 2 systems that can't be seems fair for that.
But they are the same to you as you do not inhabit your systems on the planets. So there's no
Inhabitable
difference for you.
systems have many uses, child.
Fair.
Could I do a systems check to like say along the lines of he's reaching beyond what force of might and will is? Because force of might of will wants just to save face,
Mm-hmm.
and this is like really reaching beyond.
I mean, you can definitely do that. It's not really reaching beyond. It's just being much more literal about system ownership. Because there is a difference between owning an inhabitable system and an uninhabitable system. It's
Yeah,
just
but
that
it's
difference
along the
doesn't really
lines of,
matter
like,
to New Squy generally.
I want to phrase it along the lines of like, okay, but your elder just wants to be able to save face because that is very important. And making all these grand demands might compromise this and bring about the elder's attention.
All right, roll me that systems.
All right. And I shall edge, because why not?
Reaching it. Oh. Making an argument. Or making a case.
Let me just roll something real quick.
Right, quick, cool.
So like this command throne, so like does this chamber look like it's ceremonial, or does it look like it's like where he actually controls the ship from?
Both. The central throne definitely has controls for the ship. He doesn't, or they don't seem to be using the controls actively, like some of the others have been. Though then again, others of them were just not even on their thrones, so maybe they just don't feel like it, and they don't need to pilot it all the time. But it also does seem kind of like over the top, as though it is for both ceremonial use and practical. Even though it's practical, it feels like a throne. Not some of them have felt like chairs and pilots areas. This feels like a throne.
And does this news guy look like they're wearing more or less? Are they wearing anything actually, or is it just carapace?
Good question. They are wearing no clothes, but lots of jewels and like chains and yeah, it's an embarrassing number.
Ostentatious.
It's like, imagine if Mr. T's neck were all over his body. That's the amount of jewels that they're wearing.
I'm gonna. So all right.
And to you, by the way, Velp. Zeus replies, "Well, yes, of course, but force of might and will is a very distinguished and wise person, but he sometimes lacks understanding on how the youth see us. He worries, or he is air focus on us normal people. Make them forget that we must remain respected by you kids as well.
George says, "I pity Tier Fool." Amazing. All right, so.
All right. I will message both Vosh and Urgats that do note if he keeps doing these foul paws, we can just conclude our meeting and leave.
And I'm
Because
gonna.
if he's trying to do this to disrespect, this is the ultimate disrespect we can do to him.
Yeah. So so I'm going to say, yes. So Zeus, interesting choice of name. I take you are a fan of human mythology.
I've read a book or two.
Indeed. Ours is a short-lived species, but one with a long, storied history.
Not particularly long.
But particularly storied.
Not any more than any other species. I
Yeah.
take this name because I understand that one should present themselves in accordance with the people they are presenting themselves to. So when dealing with you kids, I take on a name that you kids might appreciate.
All right. So I'm gonna like. So you noted. So you said that the was it just skin contact, or was like the liquid acidic when it burned my leg?
It was just skin contact.
Okay, it was like that
It
was
didn't burn your
irritant.
leg. Sorry, it should have been like your neck because it was you had taken off your helmet and you were
Yeah.
going to eat it or to fake eating
Yeah.
it and it just hit your neck.
Okay, but it was like when it hits skin, it's tingly, but when it's like not gonna burn through anything. All right. So, yeah. I'm going to say indeed. For example, if one enters a system with one's weapons already half drawn, it would rather come across disrespectful, wouldn't it?
From what I understand, the Trinity ships the Trinity diplomatic vessels do not have weapons. Or at least nothing worth worrying about.
Indeed. I want to like stand up and like my shock baton is visible on my hip, and I'm just gonna like walk and say, "You do have a marvelous throne room. Would you mind, as we conduct business, if I were to, have a look around?"
Of course, so long as you do not mind an escort. And they clap their hands, and the meek human who helped open the door just walks around, follows you.
And I'm gonna be like, "All right, over here." And so is that Veer like restrained?
That Veer is. What do you mean by restrained?
So like, are they in like a cage?
Yes, she's in a cage.
All right. And she's just seemed to be
but the
chilling.
cage also is covering or is on a console. So it's not like it isn't like a cage. It's like a sort of half cage.
Like a ball turret kind of situation.
Yeah, similar.
All right. Wait. So she has access to a console or something that she's working on?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. And yeah, I'm gonna like walk around to the opposite side of the news choir for no particular reason, admiring the room. Anybody else got anything that they're saying while it happens?
I would like to make an insight check to know what my cohort is up to.
I'm gonna like message you back like doing a little fact finding.
All right.
And
Should I be prepared to draw my blade?
and I'm like, yeah, try and keep them occupied. And do they have an obvious weapon somewhere in like the area?
They have they do. They have a pulse rifle on them.
Hmm.
Right.
Can I tell? Like, does this look like a pulse rifle that, like, it's like fully functioning with an IFFT on, or I actually don't know if I'd be able to tell that.
Yeah, it is. So it's after you got up, it is now in one of their hands, or well, in some of their arms.
So what I want to do, basically, and I don't know how I can do this, if I can get the guy to like walk in front of its barrel, however it's pointed, whatever. I'm trying to suss out, are the people aboard the ship in as it tagged as friends in the IFF on the pulse rifle, or do they not even bother with that and it's full safety off? Which feels very newsguy, honestly, but you never know.
I mean, you can try a maneuver to do that, or you can take a wild guess.
I think I'm gonna take the wild guess. And yeah, when I got him over here, I'll be like, oh, what's your colleague over there doing? As I point to the veer in the half shell.
Who are you asking this?
The meek human.
The meek human says nothing.
All right. I'm just gonna walk over and see if I can see what she's doing.
The veer appears to be working. I mean, you're walking in open space, so you can do that if you want, but you'd be down on the ground. But the veer appears to be working on the console, doing. There's a lot of things going by. From your experience, you suspect this is either sort of maintaining or managing the engines, or it's not weapons, but it's either like engines or something else, some other engineering-y aspect of things.
Okay. Does it look like the compartment that she's working in is locked?
What do you mean?
Like, does it look like it could be opened from within and like it just happens to close this way?
You do not see a door. That's not to say there isn't one, but you don't see one looking at it.
So, like, there's no obvious way to get him out. Yeah, so I look at so does the human show any signs of, like their throat's been fucked, or, like, they just never open their mouth, but, like, they don't have a tongue?
You can roll me a scrutiny.
Yeah. Checking them out.
All right. They have opened their mouth. They don't seem to be missing a tongue or have their throats fucked up. You're also kind of confused because you see what looks almost in their jacket, what looks almost like a shotgun, maybe? Which, why would you have a slave with a shotgun?
So is it possible, if I insight this human, is it possible that they're just, like, playing the part and they're actually a bodyguard? Whatever
you can go ahead
be,
and roll insight.
Or just that, like, Zeus is arrogant and doesn't think that, this is going to wind up like every other empire that did this.
Perfect. And you have, you're going to get, this is going to incur the one that your scrutiny stresses. You're going to get an extra edge because in rolling insight, you suspect that this human isn't all there anymore. Their movements or how they're acting, it reminds you more of like Mirai drones.
Do I get the same vibe from the Veer?
You can't tell from the veer. You're not used. You're not used
Familiar
enough to
yeah.
veer, and also you're not. You can't really get a clear view. The cage is pretty intricate.
Can I see anything that is up with the human in terms of like surgical things on maybe on the neck or something? Like, does it look like they've had...
Not with your one scrutiny, no. You didn't see anything.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna say, find some excuse to check out the Thran and see if they're like no longer mentally present. Also, I want to think about this ship. Knowing exactly the kind of news guy that Zeus is, where does Zeus keep Zeus's prisoners?
You don't know. I will remind you, this ship, the inside, what you've seen of this ship has been a single hallway that has no other doors. And then this room. There are lots of places it could be. But as far as you haven't explored this ship at all, you don't know the layout of this ship.
All right. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna be like, Snoodle, you're good at sneaking, right? I say in like text or something.
While all that was happening, I would have.
I could respond with, "I was a police officer, not that kind." Just out of character.
Racism.
No. It's understandable. But I only have a two in altogether.
I am the sneaky one you seek.
Indeed. So, but sorry, I'll cut you off there, Dark Aardvark. What's Zyra up to?
Because you asked us to keep him occupied while you were over there, I would have. I looked at him and said, "How do you deal with the shame of having two younger broodmates surpass you in the pecking order?"
They will realize the truth. The universe will realize the truth eventually. Haruka will burn out and die. As far as a pale nightmare, Pear has no potential for success.
So delusion is how you plan on dealing with the shame. Understood.
And how long do you think that the Trinity will last? I wonder. A decade, maybe two.
How long have they lasted so far?
50 years.
I say there's probably at least another 50 in them, if not more.
So what you're saying is, by the time that my younger siblings are barely even qualified as real contenders, you will all be gone and nothing.
Oh, so it's delusion and false equivalency. An interesting cocktail to deal with the shame.
Is it a delusion to understand the truth? Or sorry, is it a delusion to understand the truth? I keep on accidentally letting Zeus's voice go down lower than it should be. I see things for the way they are, not for the way they once were, or for the way they one day might be.
Interesting.
Now then, I think you have overstayed your welcome. Unless there is something more.
Well, there is the matter of the deal. You see, there's no way we're going to give you access to a habitable system.
It'll belong to the brood, not me. It'll abide by all our laws and standards.
The Trinity makes exceptions for certain outstanding members of the community. However, there is the issue of what seems to have happened to my little escort here. And I wave my hand in front of the human's face. Does he react?
How do you wave your hand in front of their face?
Just like this.
I mean, they react to a hand moving.
How do they react?
What of them?
And I would say, you're going to need to tell me what it is you're doing, or else we're not going to be able to give you access to a habitable system, even if it is only by extension of your brood membership. You are part of the brood, so anything that they have access to, you have access to.
My siblings misunderstand our place, I think. These wonderful individuals, I've made them happy. And in return, they help me.
Happiness is a great commodity. Perhaps you could explain to us how this is achieved. Perhaps this habitable system is within reach. I mean, we did tell your elders that it was off the table, but if you managed to secure it...
Roll me a convince check, actually.
Could I... I'm assuming that's a communicate.
Yeah, I mean communicate. Every time I say that, I'm just dumb.
That's all right. Different systems swim in the brain.
You're fine.
Yeah, I'll assist with a communicate too.
Alright, so that's a modifier of 2. I'm throwing it out there. It's level 1 shock with 3 successes.
Okay. It's a proprietary thing, of course, so I'm not going to give you all the details. But suffice it to say, it takes time and effort and many things I've learned from many different systems. But happiness can be achieved by anyone with the right pressure.
Now, I understand this is a proprietary technique, but the Trinity has certain standards that we hold for citizen satisfaction. Would you care to show us?
I would never deign to do something like this within the Trinity. That would make me a criminal.
Insight.
Go ahead. Yeah, they are telling the truth. They have not done this in the Trinity.
Yeah,
but they have no plans on doing it.
And they do not plan on doing it in the Trinity.
But if they get a habitable system, that's different. I'm gonna propose that we go for. Here's what I'm gonna say. Well, I have been quite the student of Newswise civilization, and this is my first time, really touring vessels of your people. Your brood has a fascinating collection of architecture, and I see you have a very grand style. It takes time and effort. Now, obviously, you can't share with us all of the proprietary techniques, but if you could show us where this happens, perhaps we could better understand to communicate with our young polity what's being done here. Obviously, this is a time of great change. Perhaps we can arrange something, but I'm going to need to be able to bring back some hard consideration of your procedures.
I would love to, except we do not have the time. This ship is a formal affair, not suitable for such long and arduous work.
By the way, it's 10:30 as we go for the...
I was going to say, if this interaction is not going to end soon, we're going to take the break now. Otherwise, we do it after this.
Yeah, I mean, my plan was to like, I think that the place I'm thinking exists doesn't exist actually, but I would like to hack his ship or and murder him. I don't know what Zyra and Snoodle's plan is or how well strapped you are. I have.
If you let us know, I could try to do
All right.
a scrutiny to see if there is such a control device here.
Okay, but I will 10-minute break us because I don't
right.
think that we're gonna.
Yep.
You did too soon. So.
Assuming we are allowed to carry all of our weapons, I'm very well healed.
Yeah, I mean, nobody
Yeah.
fucking frisked us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're allowed to carry weapons. They're carrying weapons.
Yes.
Good.
Oh Lord.
I hate that I keep on slipping Zeus's voice deeper because that is such a fun voice. But
Indeed.
that takes a lot of. That's a lot of faith in Zyra. That I'm sure Zyra has in herself.
I mean, you know, I'm but a meek sociologist, and you are sword lady.
mm-hmm.
We should specify swords for the duel and not
And not machine guns.
machine guns or.
I mean, you defeated the Keth heretic, and it's hard to be better gunslinger than a Keth heretic. So.
But I wasn't gunslinging against the Keth heretic.
I know you weren't. You were sword
I
slinging.
brought a sword to a gunfight.
You brought the sword to the gunfight, and you won once. A trick so nice, you'll try it twice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to be like, you declare the shawl, all of this.
I might note this new squad has already used poison once.
True.
Just a helpful little reminder.
Indeed.
But I do have. What is the edge of the? Is the end of the edge track 10?
The end of the. If you reach 10 edge, you are forced to edge break. If you go over 10.
Sure.
Non-humans can edge break at 7. Humans can edge break at 5. And my edge break isn't very helpful to other people, although it would be very helpful if I had to escape.
My edge break is very helpful for myself if I'm in the middle of a duel.
Yeah, I'm sure you are already dead, right?
I have blur.
Oh no, yeah, I have blur as well.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we are just like absolutely like choo choo.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well,
you could always state that it is Rastin rules, and in the middle of the fight, we all just jump them.
Mm-hmm. The problem
I'm not sure.
the problem is if the slaves are all if the slaves are all programmed to jump us, the moment this goes down, we're going to have to harm or kill innocent people to
wait, if we are challenging this Zeus in a fight, it would have to be under the watch of their elders, so that yeah.
So no shenanigans. Yeah, I mean, I would say by all means, like, there's no reason that they wouldn't fuck us. So we might as well, if we're gonna go the duel route, throw down the gauntlet on our way out.
Yeah, you can definitely, I will say, throw down the gauntlet, be like, hey, just so you're aware, we are going to duel you before the signing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down.
Or we challenge you to a duel during the signing.
I will be right back.
The rest of the road need entertainment.
Fair. I do think we should also make clear what wins the duel. And I don't think first blood is wise here necessarily. but is it a
Um,
duel to the
I-
death?
I will let you roll and anyone when you challenge or before you challenge, I will let you guys roll systems to determine what standard new squad dueling procedure is, or you can just kind of guess.
I would rather not guess. I don't think there's an answer that'll make me say no, but I would like to know going in. I will be right back. I still have ears on. I'll be able to hear.
I will remind you, standard new squad growing up things. What is eating your brother or your broodmates that are weak? So probably to the death is a
Most
standard
likely to
thing.
the death.
Maybe to the death or yield, though you also doubt that new squad will yield. Though maybe this one will. You've been informed they are more bark than bite.
Yes. The big thing is if we do manage to like really mess Zeus up and they have to yield, that would be a lot more loss of face, wouldn't it?
Correct.
Cool. Now, since we all know Zeus is going to try to cheat, once we get back from the break, we probably need to figure out is how can we also cheat on our side?
What's this cheat? Define cheat.
I do.
Stacking the odds in our favor.
Yeah. I do have.
Zyra, our esteemed advisor, would probably be able to give you insights into how Zeus fights.
True.
Yeah.
Would if I have a +3 and communicate to lie, would that be able to? Not entirely. This is only the third session of this game I've ever played.
Okay.
So would that be able to? Would I be able to use that for like a like in like
pure
a juke
weak,
or
like you're
or a feint
wounded?
or that? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say probably. Yeah.
Okay.
I would allow that.
Intriguing.
This is gonna be fun.
And
The
the rest
I'm
are
actually
fine. They all have their
left-handed.
eccentricities. But Zeus, yeah, we now know why he was in the bottom of the order.
No, you don't know why yet.
He's a stupid poopy head. That's why.
Capital J jerk.
I would appreciate. I believe.
Actually, I need to roll something real quick. Continue. You would appreciate.
I think Snoodle and Airgats both have something in systems. So if they could do the roll to find, just to confirm, it's to the death.
Yeah. So I think Velp already did that, or Velp already did that roll.
Mm.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh, gotcha. See it. Oh. Should probably go use the restroom faster.
So that's what happens. I had to go through like 3 if-then statements, but I figured out what happens.
So that was a very logical journey then.
Well, so I have about I wrote like 7 different sort of basic scenarios of things that could happen during the signing. And I needed to make sure I had the correct thing happening with the you challenging Zeus to a duel in this specific layout.
Well, hopefully, it results
Do.
in much honor.
All right,
upon
sorry
my
I took a
house.
moment there, dreamers.
It's all
Also,
right, you're
to be
worth the
clearly,
wait.
I think you typed the waiting screen wrong because it should be 41, not 31.
Oh shit! I think we did it early last time. Well,
yeah.
Here
Shrug
we
it.
are, superstar.
All right. So, y'all, as I said, assuming you're leaving with the standard, or with I'm going to challenge you to I challenge you to a duel, during the signing. You guys can roll systems to determine more about the duel. Velp already determined that it's probably to the death.
Do we have to let them know we're going to challenge them to a duel with the signing ahead of time?
You don't have to.
Would it be proper to?
You can roll me a systems.
Would sociology or red tape help me?
One or the other. Tell me which one. It will give you different information.
Red tape, because I want to think about like the nuances of how like the the kinds of like news quiet this but that.
Okay, that's a success. So, as far as it's concerned, if you there is no real difference between challenging them beforehand and challenging them during the signing, because the signing ceremony is witnessed by everyone, and so there's not you're not going to get there isn't as much underhanded play, and you can't really set up the stage beforehand or anything like that because it would be where everyone is and they would all notice it.
Yeah.
Challenging them beforehand is generally seen as disrespectful. Challenging them at the scene is more seen as I disagree with your take on this specific agreement, because that is a standard way of disagreeing with someone's take on a specific agreement.
Here's what I think. So, like, removed from the context, I would rather not give this fucker time to prepare.
I concur with that assessment.
I mean, I'm assuming they live their life ready to duel people, but also, like,
You also suspect either way
do
they're going to have some time to prepare. Just...
Okay, so, like, if they're going to go mix up something special, they'll have time either way.
So they won't be able to set up this, like, the arena to their
They won't do that. Be able to do that either way anyway, because you have
Brood is watching.
The Brood is all there. The Dissent are all watching, and they don't all like Zeus.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say we duel, Yu-Gi-Oh style. No, I think so it would be disrespectful to do it now, and as fun as... Oh, okay. So they're going to have time to set up either way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we duel them to the death over any of the line items, unless we want to, like, honestly, yeah, no,
Well, the terms of the duel can be and should be along the lines of the disrespect that Zeus has shown us, and this would be the showcase to the other brood members is that if we succeed, the Trinity needs to have some begrudging respect.
yeah, I mean, I think that we need to clap this fool, to send the message, but I think that, so here's the real break point. Do we challenge the duel now just to say we came onto Zeus's ship, got disrespected and disrespected them back, left, went, stabbed each other? Or do we throw out something like, oh yeah, we'll give you access to the system, but slavery is illegal there and the Trinity will enforce all such laws, and all of this stuff that you're doing here will be illegal. Frogging. And then when they're like, fuck no, we're like, alright, bitch, let's duel about it. And in that case, I think that we're sending a message to the group, which is like, we've got a strong feeling, and you are not going to violate that feeling, or we are going to violate your carapace. Because we've been pretty accommodating to every other newsguy thus far. So, we're gonna show them, like, yes, we will bend on a lot of stuff, but like we will break you on some stuff, and in that way we will both remove someone who nobody really likes, and show them like we're not pushovers. You can't take the Trinity for granted, and I think that'll also what?
He's most likely Zeus is going to disrespect us during the meeting.
And
not if he's dead or worried about bleeding out.
No. That is when we declare the duel. Is that?
Yeah, where we bait them or wait for them to make a sign of disrespect. We're like, all right, bitch, let's fucking go. Here's our champion. Dance. All right, yeah, no, I think that's the play.
And then once if hopefully Zyra wins, hold up that head and then look at Force of Might and Will, the one that carried all the trophies, be like, I have earned this.
Yeah. I think that's the play. I don't think there's anything else we really want to say other than, like, I've expressed a vague interest in, like, yes, well, the law is an impediment, and we must all eventually come to reckon with it in our own way. And, I look around and say, well, I'm sure you're very busy, and it's a shame that I won't be able to observe your procedures to produce such happiness in those in your employ. And,
you can, you see them looking you guys over slowly. You guys can roll an insight to try to figure out what they're doing. And then they say, of course. Goodbye.
Oh shit.
Yeah, all of you can tell what they're doing is figuring out what on earth you guys are thinking about. And you, Urgats, kind of, you're gonna go, all three of you are gonna go up in stress as Urgats starts kind of freaking out because he suspects, oh crap, Zeus definitely has figured out our plan. Zeus knows we're gonna try to do something, we're gonna go and fight him, challenge him for something.
Alright, so I'm freaking out, and I'm saying, and I'll say, indeed, at the signing, we'll see how many systems can be arranged for the brood.
I hope we can come to an understanding.
Of course. The Trinity is all about unity.
I hope we can come to an understanding.
Of course. The Trinity is all about unity, after all.
Of course it is. It's why you want this system. Goodbye.
Yeah, so like I think we hustle the fuck out of here. I don't want to get ganked.
Let's go.
How many of you have been paying attention to the different New Squai's actual words, not just the translations?
As in, like, speak New Squai?
Well, just like the sounds of the words.
Oh,
I mean,
gotcha.
also if you speak New Squai, great, but I don't think any of you do, besides maybe Urgatz had an elective or two.
I think Urgatz has had like 100, 200 level New Squai,
Okay, so
not nearly
Urgatz
enough to
speaks as good New
understand.
Squai as you speak French. Got it.
Yeah. I can catch words and accents and like some like important parts of speech, but you know.
Mm-hmm.
I rolled a scrutiny just to see if Felt would be able to pin.
Oh yeah, no, you definitely you don't know this. You don't speak New Squai, or at least not this dialect of New Squai. But you can definitely tell that the goodbye that Zeus just said to you guys, different goodbye than it sounded very different than every other goodbye you've gotten thus far. Much less polite. Different word too. But they both translated to goodbye, so.
Does this one by chance translate to goodbye as in you are now going to be dead? Or like this is the final goodbye, or do we not know that?
You can't tell. Y'all don't speak this language.
Alright, I'm gonna propose that we fuck off post haste then.
Alright.
Y'all fuck off post haste, in the words of Urgatz.
The immortal words of Urgatz.
Yeah, so back aboard the ship. I'm gonna fall on the drone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think my first question is, so what kind of blade poison does Zeus normally use in duels?
Have you already challenged Zeus to Death of All Who Once Will Be to duel, or
does that matter?
Is
for
this
the answer
something
to the
that
question?
I have not yet. We have not yet.
Yes.
We have not yet issued the challenge, but we expect it to happen before the signing. It is almost certain it will happen before the signing.
In that case, he tends to use rather strong poisons, though not very volatile ones. Or sorry, they tend to use rather strong poisons, but not very volatile ones.
Do you happen to know of any way of reliably knowing what one they're going to use, or are they mercurial and they'll just go for whatever at the time?
Zeus collects body and mind altering things similar to how I collect technology, or Force collects weapons and bodies.
So it has a wide array of poisons at its disposal, their disposal, and there's no particular reason to guess one over the other. Do they have any weaknesses as a fighter?
They are young, reckless, in the midst of a tantrum, and believe themselves to be great.
Could I see examples of Nurse-Kai blade combat?
So are you like looking it up or something, or
pull it up on the holo table? We're just like or watching the dance.
There are as many different New Squai styles of fighting as there are New Squai almost. There are New Squai who wield like 2, 3, even 4 blades at a time, fighting with both sides. There are New Squai who wield primarily like hooking based weapons to pull people into their mouths. It varies from there is a wide variety of different ways that New Squai fight.
And is there a particular bladed weapon that Zeus prefers to use?
Zeus uses, or you're asking, I assume, the
Yes, the drone.
Zeus uses a sword that they built when they were younger. Sentimental value, like children oft have.
Do you have schematics or images of this weapon?
It's a sword. There are two sharp ends, a point, and a dull bit.
There are many kinds of
hold.
New Sky fighting styles. There are also many types of swords.
Why would I care about such weaponry?
Yeah, I'm gonna say, within the realm of what is permitted within a duel, what do you think the best countermeasure is against their poisons, or something that they would be particularly vulnerable to?
Killing them.
It's good to know they have not yet developed an immunity to death.
Yes, they are weak like that.
And eating his food. All right, so Snoodle. I turned to Snoodle and I'm like, all right, Snoodle, you're a PI. You know how to get dirt. You've been in a few rough and tumble situations.
Mhm.
What do you think what's your read on the psychological profile of this Zeus? Also, have we hit all of them now, or is there someone left to hit?
You have hit all of them. You're now in the talking and planning phase before.
All right. So what's your read? How do you think we take him down?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do an insight check.
Roll an insight. Yes, I was gonna say that.
And I'll edge because I really want this to
Great.
go. Because let's just see. Yeah.
All right. So, number one, as far as who they are, you get they are very loud, and from your experience, people who are louder outside of the fight aren't as good inside the fight necessarily. You also are reminded that they are of Alone in the Night's earlier words, that they are a toddler in the midst of a temper tantrum. So they are so if they fight, it's probably going to be erratic and not necessarily planned or well thought out.
And basically, the fainting style Zyra mentioned would be very beneficial, as that would try to more focus on the ego. Especially if
Perhaps.
Zyra acts weaker but is able to hold their ground a lot stronger.
You also get the feeling that if he doesn't know, and if he actually knows that you guys are going to challenge him, there are probably going to be different reactions. So you know that your compatriot freaked out because he suspected that they were going to challenge you guys, or they knew about the challenge, but you don't know whether or not they actually know, and you suspect that there are going to be different reactions if they do versus if they don't.
I mean, we came to them, we didn't have obviously a great conversation there. There was a mutual disrespect, but I don't think that they necessarily, their experience with the Trinity is that as long as they don't technically break the rules, we're not going to come after them. And that's how they've evaded any consequence thus far. I think at the dinner, until it's duel time, we just kind of pretend that's the stat, we're very much, rule abiding Trinity members. I think that's how we play
I
it.
would suggest is we do not speak of this until Zeus. We could try is subtly prod Zeus to act like the temper tantrum child, and then challenge, because Trinity is young, of course. It is relatively new compared to these new squai, but respect is needed to be given. And if this new squai, does that out in the open, it needs, to say the old Earth term, a spanking.
All right. So do you guys rest up until the signing starts?
I would like to rake through the archives in my memory of obviously this news guy is an individual, but also they've clearly got like a complex, right? They're all about the bling, they're all about presenting you stronger than they are. They're trying to insult us. Right now they think that they're older and cleverer than us, and blah blah blah, child, because they're bitter about being younger than their siblings, and getting stepped over by their younger siblings. How do we give them the twist? What is something that would require a vast amount of knowledge of either this brood or Newsguy lore that we could do to totally insult this motherfucker? Or otherwise, kind of give him an unexpected tilt that we could use either in battle or beforehand to provoke the challenge.
Roll me a systems with a red tape if you're trying to figure out a way to do it with the treaty itself. Or a systems with the sociology if you're trying to figure out a way to do it with the pre-treaty kind of discussion-y bits.
This is sociology because I want to make it pre-treaty discussion-y bits.
Ergat, I'll assist, so you get a +1.
Oh, and I get an additional +1, so I'll roll a further d6 there. I think I got a couple of successes there.
Oh, yeah, you got plenty of successes. There are lots of ways that you can offend an older new squai. There are significantly fewer ways because of his... Well, so there are significantly fewer ways that he can respond, or that they can respond to, because of where they are on the totem pole. But talking with their elders before, or talking with the youngest brood before even acknowledging they are there, is an easy way to do it. Mentioning it, if you learn their histories of these people, mentioning things that they're attributing things that their broodmates did to them is an easy way to offend. Though that does run the risk of also offending their broodmates. There are,
yeah. We just
talking about them seeming young or underestimating their age significantly is an easy way to offend someone who's hot-headed.
All right, but the big thing is, this is a super twist. So what is the one hot button thing?
I mean, to be fair, I understand if there's no one thing. I think that we take this knowledge.
So the normal one hot button thing would be acknowledging everyone below them on the in precedence before them. That is the easiest way to offend any new squai that tells all the new squai that you are intentionally offending them. If you go in order and just skip them. But that doesn't really work here because Zeus is Zeus. And so there's a lot of just smaller things.
Yeah, I think that we're just gonna kind of come in there and yeah, I think we're gonna saunter in there and we're going to be shame about that slavery, huh? Honestly, Is there a way that we could lean into like the self-reliance and it has to be earned that like the Elder News Squad are talking about to point out that like, the NAP violators are all losers? Like, and just like really drive that home and like at once likening the Trinity to them and also distancing Zeus from like the pride of the brood. Yeah, I think that we're gonna workshop like basically like the perfect thing for Zyra to say, so that like if they pop the challenge first, they'll pop the challenge at Zyra. You know what I'm saying? Because Sancta ain't swinging no swords.
So,
I don't know about you, Snoodle, but I ain't swinging no swords.
Y'all have a really, really, really terribly restless night because you all have nightmares, so you don't actually recover any edge from resting tonight. Because everyone has rolled those shocks to get nightmares at some of the things that have happened. Some of you have nightmares about the weird, grotesque monsters that you saw in the flooded ship. Some of you have nightmares about the fact or that maze that made no sense and seemed that the correct answers were always the same directions as no matter which way you were going.
Here's what Snoodle's going to do. I have R4M. I'm going to give that to Zyra. That gives +1 to all resilience tests for 1 minute. This should help you in case things go south, my friend.
Thank you.
Then your alarms wake you up from your restless sleep in time for you to get ready and go down to the moon's surface for a signing ceremony. Cool. While you guys arrived first you guys were supposed to at least arrive first into the system, they all arrived first are already waiting for you on the moon. Well, almost all.
Is Zeus missing?
Yes. Zeus is not there. Where you suspect Zeus should be standing, there is a mule with a no vote on it.
Amazing.
As I said, you are going to learn it very fast why Zeus is where he is on the rank, or where they are on the rankings. Yeah, other than that, there seems to be... Question, do you bring your own quadcopter with you? The quadcopter that's waiting in your ship with you, or do you leave it there?
I think bring it with us as we have prime time to return it.
Well, here's the thing. We don't want everyone to know that we've...
That would be why you wouldn't want to bring it.
Yeah, we don't... I mean, the only thing is, does the quadcopter look like any quadcopter you could buy at a store in the Trinity? And could we pass it off as ours? Or is it, like, going to be pretty obvious to the other news squad, like, nah, that's not,
If you brought it... If you did not bring it back onto your ship, if you brought it with you from your ship and then returned it to your ship with it, they wouldn't suspect anything. If you brought it from your ship and then it left with Alone in the Night, they'd be like, that's Alone in the Night. They might think, oh, so Alone in the Night spied on them, but they definitely would know that Alone in the Night was in your ship this whole time.
I think we leave the drone and we just like agree to pass it back in space or something. Or we take the drone down, take it back up with us, and then we just, again, like, pass it off through space, so that...
I just forgot to copy the drone over, so if you want me to copy the drone over, I can.
Yeah, I think we go with it. I think that we have a pretty solid plan to keep it deniable.
Okay. Actually, I'm feeling lazy. So, you know that Alone in the Night already has another drone hovering about its chair, doing small repairs. It appears to have wheels on the bottom of its chair.
Mm-hmm.
It's still wearing its full body glove.
Nice.
Force of Might and Will is wearing what looks like armor, like a formal set of armor. you can roll scrutiny to try to figure out more about that, but I'm going to give you a few different checks that you could do for different things, so don't roll scrutiny yet. Also, behind our favorite Zhqui, there is definitely a new Squai Hydra. You can roll scrutiny to examine that a bit more. Other than that, everyone else seems... Haruko brought along Zir Bartender, who is currently setting up drinks at the table. Beyond that, everyone else seems to be alone, though you can roll scrutiny to sort of like scan the environment and see if there's more. So those are the 3 checks. Scrutinize the Hydra, scrutinize Force of Might and Will's weird outfit, or scrutinize to like examine the world.
I'm scrutinizing the drip.
I'm scrutinizing the world.
Okay. Urgots, that armor's made of spaceship. That is a spaceship armor. That is not a normal person armor. You're starting to understand exactly how this Force of Might and Will was able to take down all those giant, scary things. With that, combined with like the fact that they're wielding, they currently have on them the holster, or those sheathed, a star splitter. You're like, ah, yes, that's a scary one.
Yeah, they're armed and armored up.
Snoodle Velp, you look at the Hydra and you didn't actually see this before, but you didn't see it earlier. But what you definitely see in this Hydra is there are stitches that sort of go from one part of it all the way down, as though it was recently cut open very widely and is now no longer cut open.
That's kind of metal, to be honest.
This was the one that was being vivisected earlier.
Good.
And Vosh, you're scanning the environment.
Yes.
Yeah, you see nothing. No one else seems to have brought anyone along. The only one that you're slightly surprised by not bringing anyone along would be a Pale Nightmare. Pear has a lot of crew that they might have brought as a second, but Seeker is all alone, and Force of Might and Will is their own individual. So, of Force of Alone in the Night begins the discussion by saying, of course, before we begin, let us toast to a successful, or a soon-to-be successful meeting and signing.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna come up and say indeed a successful signing, a great agreement at the beginning of jolly cooperation between the Brood and the Trinity.
So a few things you note. You do note that Seeker seems to just shuffle a little bit and then nod to Alone in the Night, who nods back. And beyond that, everyone else goes and enjoys a drink.
What?
Or, well, everyone but the mule. The mule doesn't get to drink.
Okay, so Seeker X doesn't,
Who is this Seeker X you speak of?
Seeker is not approaching the table to drink, and that is, I think that's what the nod was about.
They did not approach. A did not approach the table to drink. A nodded beforehand, or did the shuffle and nod beforehand.
All right.
You can roll an insight on that to try to determine exactly what was up. Yeah, you also remember that Seeker served water earlier rather than anything alcoholic. This may be just a significant point for either them personally or their religion that the rest of the brood respects.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's the Franciscan oath. We're going to older terms.
Isn't that where you just be less drunk than everybody else? I'm thinking of a different order. Anyway,
it might be an order that their whole their whole religion or that this portion of the cult doesn't drink, or it might be that perhaps Seeker is some kind of a substance abuser and doesn't want to do anything like that. There are lots of possibilities, but whatever it is, it's something that the brood understands.
All right. So we pull up. Zaya, are you gonna be at the table with us?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I'm pulling up. I will also go out of my way to say, yes, it is a pleasure to see all of the interesting and capable people who we have conversed with here represented in the flesh.
Ooh, nice.
You still have not seen me in the flesh. Alone in the Night reminds you.
Excuse me. I meant that your physical presence was here. Alone in the Night. Most venerable Alone in the Night.
By the way, at Alone in the Night saying that, Shki definitely chuckles. That was an in-character chuckle from me.
Oh, that's good.
A good old ICC. That joke got the reaction it deserved.
Don't worry. Okay.
Yeah, so these are the proceedings. Zyra, we would have like pumped you full of a script on how to like very particularly like invoke the NAP and how great it is that like, nobody here like, violates it. That was designed to insult Zeus, who is presently coming to us from the mule.
No, not coming to you. The mule literally just has a note that says, well, you can't read it, maybe you can if you actually look at the note, but it has a weird circle on it of New Squire writing that you suspect says either yes or no in more words.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can then say on our Trinity side that is considered an insult, and we would want to have Zyra would then declare a duel.
Yeah, I mean, I will even say, like, I see we seem to be one short, and I gesticulate the mule. Am I to understand that we have an intermediary?
A Pale Nightmare looks at the mule, reads it briefly, and is like, he's being a little baby. It's fine.
It is interesting to see that he sends somebody of equal station in his place.
Haruko and a Pale Nightmare chuckle at that, though you do note that none of the other ones do. Only the broodmates chuckle at
Can
that.
Can I make an insight roll to see if they were offended by it or just don't find it funny?
Go ahead.
Okay.
So, you suspect that the youths just don't find it particularly funny. It doesn't really matter. They don't care that much. Neither of them are particularly, well, that kind of political.
Sure.
You think that Alone in the Night did not think it was a joke.
Well, I'm fine with that too.
You also think that Force of Might and Will was slightly offended, that you would imply something that had no brain was equal to something that had a brain, but...
Okay.
So, slight offense, no offense, did not care. You also don't think that Shiki and Seeker are paying that much attention to your comments, Terry's, before the actual signing starts.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I'm going to say, so, is it the case that you know, they will not be joining us. I gesticulate to the mule.
Oh, yeah. They said they had business to attend to. They do that sometimes.
Does it look like their ship is leaving?
You can
Like
roll a scrutiny, or
well, can I like call the ship and be in like see like does it look like it's...
How much were you paying attention when you were landing?
I don't think I was paying any attention to like physical surroundings.
Because I was going to
while I landed.
say you would have seen if you were paying attention when you were landing, because it was already done on the map. Yeah, they left. They're not here anymore.
Amazing. And I'm going to say, well, I'm assuming the brood takes no umbrage with us discarding their opinion, seeing as they have discarded this meeting.
Their opinion still stands. It just don't matter that much. It's just one opinion, you know?
Indeed. So yeah, I'm going to throw down I mean, I think that we're... Is there any other important stages that I think that we're missing here before we start going into the treaty?
Nope. There's going to be there's generally a feast after the treaty that involves more eating and drinking. Because all New Squire events involve eating and drinking. Those are necessary. Actually, all New Squire life in general involves eating.
Yeah, I think that we're just...
Birth involves eating. Childhood involves eating.
Can relate.
I think we just kind of roll with it. I mean, like, I can't think of anything super pressing to pump out there.
So, what is the what's the actual proposal that you come to this fine 6 New Squire and a mule about?
So I think that we have notes split between the document is just notes about them, and we have in the chat we type some stuff up, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Would emphasize that for the seeker, that the treaty still stands by to any successor Trinity government.
Hmm. Yeah. So with the opening caveat that this treaty applies to any successor Trinity government by the rights of assuming they represent all capital systems of the current Trinity is how we'll call that. You have to hold all 4. Cloudfall, the joint capital, and the 3 polity capitals. Otherwise, you don't get counted.
The good seeker is going to step forward and be like, I am going to invoke my privilege of the inline veto that all is overly restricted. A majority seems more fit, does it not?
Indeed, as is your right, you amend the treaty by 1 word, and so it is. So now a majority. I'm glad that we got that inline out of there early. So this treaty applies to any successor Trinity government.
One of the inline vetoes. You guys also have one, but
yeah, but that Seeker X is suspend theirs, right, or heirs.
Yeah.
All right. So Alone in the Night receives. We're giving Alone in the Night everything they want, right?
All they want was the 3 favor. You did restrict their favors, but they wanted the 3 favors
luxury
with
coupon.
specific restriction, and the 1 luxury coupon.
Alone in the Night receives the right to 3 favors from 1 from each of the polities, 1 from each of the Trinity polities, and assuming of no limit, except that they must honor the laid out below rules of Trinity ethics, which no enforcer of Unity would reasonably violate. And we have a long list of things like slavery is bad and we're not going to hand out nukes.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody line item veto that?
No.
All right. So that's Alone in the Night done.
You do note it. Everyone seems to be looking at Alone in the Night when that happens.
Mhm.
But no one Alone in the Night doesn't veto it, and no one else does. Rule number 1: don't mess with Alone in the Night.
Yeah, Alone in the Night gets the money, the one luxury coupon. Force of Might and Will. They're like stood around the table in precedence order, right?
No, they are not.
Oh,
They are standing around the table in age order,
Ooh.
roughly.
Should I do age order for like the treaty?
That is up to you. As with doing the negotiation portion, both are technically correct ways to do it.
All right. So who's next in precedence?
Force, Might, and Will is also next in precedence.
All right. So Force. So Force wants one random uninhabited system, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Just to
One.
save
10 million
face. So
windows.
We looked up a particular uninhabited system with nothing in it. It goes to the bird. I mean, I'm summarizing what we say here, but that's the next item on the treaty.
Force
They
of
also
Might and
wanted
Will
10 million
will
windows.
do the inline veto and say and dissent.
Of course. And
Sorry, not brood. He says not brood, dissent, so that it goes beyond simply us.
To the heirs.
Yeah. All right. So it goes to the dissent.
Yeah, that's fine.
And next in precedence was Pale Nightmare. No, Heroku.
Yep, Heroku is next.
Heroku.
No, Haruko.
Haruko. They want big party. So
help organizing interaction of all sentient life.
Help organizing all species orgy shall be provided in the search for willing volunteers across and beyond the Trinity. A party of estimated value 1,000 Raidus in the eyes of the host shall commence whenever Haruko enters the system. Haruko enters the system. Pursuant, it has been at least one standard month since the last party. We give them all the cash they asked for.
How many Mrod days is a standard month?
30.
Okay. So first of all, Haruko's like, yes, I'm not going to use my inline veto my inline veto if you really wish to, but truly we only need the sentient species, not all species. That's a bit beyond the pale. I didn't realize the Trinity were into that, but
we're gonna reword that one right quickly to be clear we're not engaging in bestiality. Like, yeah, see, they'd have to be volunteers, and they can't volunteer if they're not sentient. But yeah, we word that up.
And I would like to use my inline veto. The one standard month, could that be replaced with 23 days? Seems more appropriate.
The inline veto is, of course, your right, as we acknowledge here at this meeting.
Privilege, technically, not right.
The privilege that we acknowledge here at this meeting, and the adjustment shall be made. All right. And Was it Juice Quill or Seeker who was next?
The good Seeker is next.
The good Seeker.
Seeker!
And what we agreed to give Seeker was basically like, yeah, we're going to customs check you in and out, but otherwise you're good. Did we want to renege on that? Did we want to curve that in some way?
I don't see why.
I
I
mean,
can't think of a reason to.
Seeker already also used their inline veto to say the majority successors of the Trinity.
Yeah, and so Seeker wanted, what are they called? They weren't called the Seekers, they were called the Searchers, right? Or the Finders?
The claimants.
The claimants, okay.
He was specifically he was sending 3 spotters.
Oh, so 3 different ships.
Well, you don't know if it's 1 ship or 3 ships.
The 3 specified spotters shall, after submitting to full customs examination, be free to maneuver across Trinity space unfettered or disturbed by routine checks or other considerations, so long as their transponders remain active.
That seems more than fair. Or sorry, that seems more than fair.
Yeah, and we also give Air the money. We're not snubbing anybody on their money, I don't think.
Yeah. No.
Everybody's getting the cash. I don't think anybody cares deeply about it.
Well, other than I'm assuming you're not giving any cash to the person who's not here right now.
People who don't show up don't get the money. That's going to be a real clear lesson that the Trinity communicates here. Is Jizqui next?
Yep, Jiki.
I don't remember them. What was their deal?
They are the scientists.
Oh, right.
Rights for organisms, yeah.
They are the ones seeking peace through understanding.
A scientific station shall be created in orbit around the system's sun, and system sun, where Jizqui shall be free to research with the assistance of the Trinity scientists to be stationed there. Bodies marked for scientific research and donation will make their will all be sent there, and Jizqui shall be notified and free to examine them all in the event of an influx of shall we say deceased organic entities. Jizqui shall further Jizqui's scientific inquiry mandate shall expand to all aforementioned cadavers.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget that if they have a hand in killing them personally or with their...
Oh yeah. However, if any member of the descent was involved in rendering the organic dead, this is nullified. Not this is nullified. Sorry. This does not apply to that particular.
Define involved. If, for instance, my good distant sibling Pale Nightmare provides weapons to, or sells weapons, or delivers weapons to a group of raiders outside our systems, outside the Trinity space, would that and those raiders went on to kill, would that be considered involved by this?
No, I would say involved here meaning primary
law
killer
on
themselves or secondary ordered or orchestrated the killing, or in the eyes of the law, you are charged and found guilty of conspiracy to murder or otherwise legally determined to be at fault. If I'm going to say it does not apply. It does not apply to matters of supply. That is to say, if the murder implements were sold by a member of the dissent. And I'm gonna pop that in the chat here. All right, how are they feeling about that?
That seems amenable.
All right.
Though I would use my personal, my privilege of inline veto to state murder seems to be offensive. Since if the implement of death seems more appropriate.
Conspiracy to murder. Wait, so they were replacing the word murder with implement of death?
They're actually making it more general in terms of what's allowed, but
yeah. You are charged and found guilty of conspiracy to implement of death, or
no, it does not apply in matters of supply. That is to say, if the implement of death were sold by a member of the dissent.
Oh, if the murder the implement of death, I see. Yeah, because you can kill people via non-murder, yeah, or like or
run.
If you sell, I don't want it to be like I sold a faulty part to this guy and so his ship blew up. Suddenly I can't get that body.
Yeah, so yeah, I think that leaves, if they're good, we're now on to Pale Nightmare, right?
Yeah.
So
Pale Nightmare start.
Right of first refusal to all external to the Trinity importing into the system contracts. Go to contracts. Go to a Pale Nightmare whose vessel of primary residence, presently the Dreamscape, shall enjoy expedited customs and refueling at no additional fee across Trinity space. We pay them the money.
Ooh. Yeah, that looks good to me. Let's get this going. Let's get this part signed. Question, and I assume all us yays are yays.
Yeah, and I will also throw in, honestly, like, just to be a dick. This might piss off Force of Might and Will. I would propose to you guys, before we throw this out, that we make it such that all laws regarding slavery still apply in the random system we gave them, even though no one would ever go there.
I agree.
Yeah. The system
that is our inline veto.
Well, we get to write the treaty, so we're throwing that out, and then someone might try to inline veto it. The system here rendered unto the dissent remains enjoined under the Trinity laws surrounding trafficking of sentient entities and compelled labor.
I have something else to add to the treaty.
Okay.
Zeus is not allowed to partake in any of the spoils the Brute has made from this treaty until such time as they apologize in full for all of the rudeness they have shown.
Oh, amazing.
To the delegation.
Great. Upon reading that, the entire delegation, other than Alone in the Night, who does not believe in laughter, chuckles a little bit.
Zeus making no...
As though they know something.
Words rendered upon this Zeus may gain no benefit from the rewards rendered. Or yeah, is someone going to inline veto that one?
No, not that one.
All right. Rewards rendered upon this treaty. Rendered by this treaty upon the descent until such time as an apology is made in full to the satisfaction of the Trinity's assembly of the Trinity's assembled officials on Cloudfall in the Cloudfall system.
Okay.
In the Cloudfall system, for all rudeness displayed in these proceedings.
Okay. Force of Might and Will is going to inline veto in the previous one and say, you are seeing things in too short of a term. Perhaps rather than under the Trinity laws, I think under the cluster laws would be more reasonable. Trinity laws will only apply for so long.
Okay, so they're saying,
is that better or worse?
They're saying whoever is locally in charge's laws about it should remain in effect.
Should the Trinity government topple and fall and it's usurped by another body?
So, to say, indeed, in your wisdom you exercise your privilege.
You can roll an insight or a
I would
system.
like to, because that's way too helpful. Oh. I'm just too happy that I gotta be selfish.
Actually, that's perfect, Vosh. You are suspicious of this.
Okay.
This guy is like, that is way too helpful. Exactly what you said. Velp, you suspect that this is not necessarily meant to be helpful. It's meant to be strict. Because having a vagary like Trinity law is, once the Trinity is gone, has no meaning in a contract. So rather than being, it's not like, I want to help these Trinity folk out. It's more like, in 2 centuries, what does Trinity law mean? It's going to be, this is our official ownership of this planet, has something that has no meaning in it anymore. Of this star, has something that has no meaning in it.
Okay. I'll relay that to Urgats and Bosch.
Yeah, I'll nod, and I'm like, indeed, sage advice, sage consideration. And, do we have anything else you want to throw in the Trinity? In the treaty?
Also, Velp, you get the distinct impression that Zhiki is not particularly happy with that inline veto. Though they do not vote against it, they do vote for it. Because technically all these inline vetoes have been seconded by everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
But Zhiki does vote for it, but it seems not happy about it necessarily.
All right.
Should we do something to sweeten the pot for Shiki, even though...
No, I mean, they've already got...
also, you've done plenty to sweeten the pot. You're giving them a research station.
We've given...
Well, I mean,
we gave these motherfuckers everything. We're about to get a straight... If we don't get a straight yes, like, someone here a bitch. I mean, the person who isn't here a bitch. You know what I mean?
Listen, that is an insult to actual bitches.
True.
And confirm.
Indeed, has one myself. But yeah, no. So I think that we're gonna throw down and be like, well, that's. I believe that.
Yeah. That's straight yeses. Pale Nightmare says. Alone in the Night sort of glares at Pear, and then Pear's like, "Fine, let's go around." And Alone in the Night says, puts down his finger and has a thing. You're guessing it means yes. Because then Force of Might and Will also does it, so you're guessing it means yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes around, and the only one that looks different is the one that the mule sort of pushes onto the table, this piece of paper. It looks different.
Mm-hmm.
So you're guessing that one was a no. And Alone in the Night says, it appears that we have 6 yays and only 1 nay. This treaty is ratified.
Excellent.
And Pear says, "All right, Haruko? When's your buddy getting back? We about to get feasting on." And a feast does, and soon enough, his buddy does get back, and a feast starts. And by feast, I mean there's lots of booze here.
I'm gonna be very careful about what I consume here, because like I don't want to get poisoned.
Okay.
But
you can roll a medicine to like every time you're like you grab a new plate off of the. So the little buddy keeps on running back and forth from different shuttles, and putting food on the table.
All right.
Yeah, you successfully get through this meal without getting poisoned. There is significant poisons here. They are all the fact that they're all called alcohol, including some of these dishes that are actually mostly also alcohol.
Nice.
Jello shots.
I mean, cooking wine is a thing.
Yeah, true.
All right, so we get through unpoisoned, and I drink a moderate amount of alcohol, not to excess. And does it look like the deal is gone through and made?
Yeah, everyone starts returning to their ships. You can roll another scrutiny to see if there's anything suspicious going on, but everything seems fine. Urgots, you do notice that literally this entire time, you only notice them as they start to leave. But literally this entire time, there's been a meat unit just chilling in the overgrown forestry area with a rifle pointed at everyone.
And that's why I'm unsettled, because I missed that when I was scanning the environment.
Pale Nightmare down to earth.
Yeah, Vosh, you suspect that you're gonna start looking for meat units a lot. You're gonna be like, "Oh crap, is that there's a sniper there?
Yeah.
Oh no, a bush. It probably has a robot in it, or maybe it has a giant monster."
Yeah, Pale Nightmare
definitely
the kind of person to be like very homey and down to earth, but also be like, "Hey, you keep this rifle trained on everyone in case anyone tries something funny at the meeting." Yeah.
You also notice that the New Squy Hydra, normally New Squy Hydra very aggressive. The New Squy Hydra that's currently cut open is very not aggressive. It seems to like Shiki. It doesn't seem to be mindless like the slaves were. It just seems to not mind. Just be like chill.
I did not want to push that button already.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I think we put a...
But yeah, y'all head home.
Excellent. So, like, does Alone in the Night have any, like, parting drone words for us, or does it look like it's all done up?
Alone in the Night leaves before picking up the drone.
Okay.
You can keep it on your ship if you want, or you can just space it.
Alone in the Night is done. I think we're gonna keep the drone. I think we're gonna take it back with us. So maybe,
Maybe we should turn it over to Naval Intelligence when we return.
I would suggest
that's definitely a smart idea, guys.
The drone is gonna hack in.
The creepy disappearing man's drone. Give it to the intelligence agencies.
I mean, tell them what is up with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're gonna go, and yeah, party, and also put out an APB on Zeus, because none of, I don't think that it can't enjoy any of the benefits. So, if they fucking show up in this system, they're getting clapped, unless they've already had an apology accepted by people on the far side of the Trinity, who, I have no idea this treaty has been signed, and probably won't for years.
So yeah, this signing goes off without a hitch, as you guys saw. The territory is going to become, once you get the message back, this is Trinity territory. Pale Nightmare flies away, continuing what you assume is pair delivery, that they waited here for a day to do the treaty before delivering. The third vessel and Seeker fly the opposite direction towards New Squy space, you suspect to collect the people in order to send them in order to send them into the Trinity.
Mm-hmm.
After they think. Force of Might and Will follows, though not exactly the same path, in a similar path. Paradise heads towards Trinity space, or towards frontier space. They're probably planning something.
Key part.
And beginning through understanding is the only ship that remains in the system waiting, because they want to make sure you at least start construction before they leave. Probably they're going to. You suspect they'll be that Zhki is going to be waiting here at least for a while. She doesn't really need to go anywhere else. She had plenty of things that she can cut open.
I got a huge backlog of science, bros and sis.
Yeah, y'all
I
were
got a whole
creeped out
freezer
by
full
it.
of science.
Yeah, I think that's.
So you return to the Trinity with this treaty. I assume you send it ahead of your ship because that's easier.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we're gonna follow proper
And
protocols.
as you're traveling back, they're forced to ponder. At what cost did you just get this system? Because the more you think about this family, the less you like some of the things you gave up.
Did go way too easily.
Is it over to luxury credit?
Yeah, that luxury credit business is really getting to you. You're like, what? That seemed a bit weird.
We
So
did
yeah,
our best.
you guys got a system.
Yay!
Mm-hmm.
You have succeeded in your mission. And honestly, other than the Trinity is probably concerned about your promise to Alone in the Night, though they understand. Though when you give a full report, they will understand why you did that. Other than that, though, they seem fine with most of it. Everything seemed reasonable.
Keyword scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, you long term, you suspect maybe that research facility not the best place to work. You suspect long term that Alone in the Night maybe not the best kind of person to have made a deal with. That just is do a favor for me.
But Alone in the Night also has all these negatives here, so it's going to be within reason.
You suspect that Dreamscape is most certainly going to be still smuggling things into the Trinity. A Pale Nightmare is going to be using Dreamscape to smuggle things into the Trinity. All the rest of you are fine with it, but Urgatz is really still suspicious of these claimants, this three spotters and whatever they're going to be doing.
This feels spotty.
But you also suspect that you won't be having any real trouble. That at least for your lifetimes, Zeus is probably going to be staying out of the way. Force of Might and Will isn't going to be causing any trouble around here. And everyone else is going to follow the letter of the law.
Yay.
Delightful. Victory.
Alrighty. So, let's go. I assume your plugs.
Indeed. I know that Dark Aardvark. Tell the good people about where they can find you.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at @dark_aardvark and also on my Twitch channel, which is also dark_aardvark. My Sunday night game is looking like it's going to be on hiatus as I find new employment that requires me to do Sunday nights, but you can find me Tuesday nights talking about Star Trek. Currently watching The Next Generation. I'm watching it for the first time ever. And we are just about ready to wrap up the 4th season and having a lot of fun talking about it and planning on diving into other series and movies when we're done with The Next Generation. And that's Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Central Time. So if you're used to this channel's time zone, that would be 9 p.m.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ramba, I don't think that you have anything to plug. You're chilling. You're a man in the wind and the breeze.
I mean, all I can say is San Dimas football rules, right?
Excellent. Your PI puts back on his jacket and wanders into the mist of time.
Yeah. Forget it, Jake.
Yeah.
It's that sound.
Hey, it's Diesel Shot. You can catch us Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. We're normally streaming, but tabletop game streams have been a bit thinner as I try and focus on finishing the game. So keep your eye on the Discord to learn more about that. And yeah, Mondays, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we always play Dungeons and Dragons. And we will see what the future holds. But for now, unless James, you got anything else to say?
No, that's about it.
Curating tabletop anthologies. Badoop badoop.
Yeah.
See you on the flip side, dreamers.
Woo!
Yeah. Right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.